If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Stephanie Perry. When I was 41 years old, I quit my job as a hospital pharmacy technician to travel the world for a year. I did it on my savings, and now I'm making a series called Grown Up Gap Year A to Z to help you do the same thing. So if you're at all interested in taking a gap year, taking some time off of work to see the world, or do whatever you want to do, write a book, learn a language, make sure that you hit subscribe and ring that notification bell, and you'll be notified when I post a new video. Glow from the blog abroad did a great video on her top 5 African American friendly travel destinations, and I want to add to the list. So here we go, my top 6 countries where Black travelers feel welcome. First, a few things. I'm African American. My experience as a traveler is going to be different from, say, a Black person from Ethiopia traveling or a Black Brit. My American accent gets me certain privileges that other travelers might not get. And so I want to be clear that these are my experiences and the experiences that people have shared with me. And this is not like a universal guide. Second, I've traveled to these places for 2 months, maybe 6 months max. And so I'm not talking about their race relations overall. I'm not qualified to speak on that. All right, number 6 on my list for countries that are welcoming to Black travelers is the Philippines. The Philippines was only the 3rd country that I visited on my grown-up gap year, but they really rolled out the red carpet for me. Traveling in Southeast Asia when you're Black can come with some annoyances. There are a lot of other travelers, I think mostly from China, who will take pictures and, maybe try to touch you and be in your face. But I didn't have a whole lot of that in the Philippines. But I visited 4 islands in the Philippines, and including Luzon, which is where Manila is, the city. By the way, don't go there. But that's for another day. But the people in the Philippines were amazingly warm and welcome and friendly
and hospitable and nice and kind and giving and sharing.
And they helped me in 1,000 different ways. Every day someone extended themselves to help me when I didn't know where I was going or what I was doing or where to eat. They greeted me with "Hello, sister." I think because they had had so many U.S. military members pass through the Philippines. And so that's why the Philippines made my list. I feel like I should warn you though, like if you're a digital nomad, the Philippines was the most challenging place for me to work from because of the internet. They don't have the speediest internet available. But the islands that I visited in the Philippines were the most beautiful islands that I've seen so far. Number 5 on my list is Costa Rica. Costa Rica is beautiful and it's a nice, peaceful, friendly place. And so it's no surprised that they would be warm and welcoming to Black travelers. I went to Costa Rica on a short vacation with one of my girlfriends. We did some excursions that required us to be really trusting of our tour guides, and the Costa Rican guides treated us really well, and I would go back to Costa Rica in a heartbeat. Number 4 on my list is South Africa. Like I said, I have not traveled yet very much in Africa, but I did take a really amazing road trip through South Africa by myself in 2017. I started in Cape Town, which is the first place where my hostel mates were other Black women, and it was amazing. I shared a room with a woman from Johannesburg and a woman from Ethiopia, and we went to hike on Lion Mountain together. It was amazing. We took pictures together, and of course, they were supposed to send them to me, and they didn't. Pro tip, always take the group pics on your own phone. In South Africa, I stayed in Airbnbs and hotels and hostels from Cape Town to Durban to Kruger National Park. And I had fantastic experiences with all of the hosts, Black and white. Everybody was friendly and helpful and wanted to make sure that I really enjoyed their country. On my blog, I have a list of 50 cities where you can Airbnb for $500 per month. Of course, the link is in the description. Country number 3 where Black travelers feel welcome is Portugal. Portugal is my favorite country. If I was going to live somewhere long term, I would really, really work to make it Portugal. But I didn't put it higher up on the list because I haven't spent as much time there as I have in the other countries that are on the list. I probably spent 3 weeks total in Portugal. It was my last stop on my grown-up gap year, and I was totally out of money. I visited 4 different towns, but I had an amazing time there, clearly, because I want to stay there. Good food, good beaches, good weather, good people. There are Black Portuguese people. It's one of the only places that I visited where people spoke the native language to me automatically instead of switching to English. People assumed that I spoke Portuguese, which is pretty nice. It's nice to know that you're just blending in and you're not sticking out. But Portugal's an amazing place. I love it, and I felt nothing but welcome there. Country number 2 on my list is a little controversial. Country number 2 is Vietnam. There are people out there who have traveled to Vietnam who can't stand it. But if you like Vietnam, you love it. It's a hate it or love it place. It's challenging. It's totally different. One of the things that non-Black people complain about in Vietnam is that they always feel like they're getting ripped off. And prices for locals are always different than prices for non-locals. I had less of an experience with that as a Black traveler. I felt like Vietnamese people kind of put me in like a middle category. Maybe I'm not getting the local price, but I'm not getting the same price as the rich Australians. So I didn't have a problem with it. I've seen a lot of other travelers complain about it, but I have not seen Black travelers complain about it. Now, I did write a blog post about a man who tried to rip me off at a sandwich shop, who tried to charge me, I think, 10 times the price for a banh mi, and we did get into a yelling match. No, I don't speak Vietnamese. No, he did not speak English, but it all worked out. I did pay a little bit more for my sandwich, but it was much less than I would have paid pretty much anywhere else in the world, and it was freaking amazing. Just like in a lot of Southeast Asia, people did stare. I'm tall, I'm Black, I stand out, but it wasn't like, what are you doing here type of staring, and nobody was touching me or, doing the things that that I got in a lot of other places. It was never like, I'm not leaving my room today because I don't want to have to deal with people. Because I've had that in some places that I've traveled. If you want to see a video about some of those stories, the not so good stories, go ahead and let me know in the comments. But today I'm just going to keep it positive. So Vietnam, number 2 on the list. Also, I Tindered in a lot of these countries. Vietnam is one of them, and my Tinder was popping in Vietnam. There are a lot of expats, a lot of travelers coming through. It was probably one of the best places. South Africa was probably one of the worst of the countries on this list for Tinder. But I think it was because the show 90 Day Fiancé had come out. I don't know if that was really what was happening, but that's what it felt like. Anyway, let's move on. All right, my number 1 country where Black travelers feel welcome is Mexico. I know if you're from America, Mexico's our neighbor, and you're like, oh, that's not exotic. But Mexico is the total package, I'm telling you. I house sat in Mexico last year for 6 months straight. I'm going back in October to do it again. Mexico gives Americans a 6-month tourist visa, and then you only have to leave and come right back, do a visa run, and they restart the clock. So it's a very easy place to go, travel around, and stay. I visited mostly the western states in Mexico. I stayed in and around Guadalajara for a long time. There's a lake called Chapala, which has a large community of American and Canadian retirees, which is why it was so easy for me to house sit there for so long. I got sick while I was there. My Airbnb hostess was amazing to me, Julia. Hola, Julia. And took such good care of me, and people were really good to me. I don't speak a whole lot of Spanish, but I can get by. And then some people who work in the tourist industry did speak English. Like this video if you like it, and share it. Take a second to share this video with your travel buddy. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Philippines, just like all over Southeast Asia, people, when they would ask me where I was from, would yell, Obama! But that was 2015, so that's over.